a moment with nature. A brief time with a mind fascinated by the natural world. Hang on a second, dogs, I just want to have a look at this. This being a couple of arum lilies. They've got three names: arum lilies, which is basically the family they belong to, and they're also known as cuckoo pint. I confess I don't know why. And lords and ladies. This is apparently after their berries, because in the late summer, early autumn, you see these sticks sticking out of the ground, just a green stick about half a centimetre across, and at the top of it is a clump of bright red berries, which are the berries of the arum lily, and they, at least my grandmother told me, are called the lords and ladies. Now, they come out quite early. They don't flower early, but they do start to appear, and I've got two in front of me at the moment. They are one of my favourite plants. They've got lovely spotted leaves a lot of the time. Not everyone, but a lot of them have got really nice spotted leaves. But they do this most incredible trick. I won't talk about it now. I'll talk about it when the flowers are actually out. But they have a really neat trick. Basically, I'll just give you a bit of a teaser perhaps. Basically, they capture flies and trap them overnight in order to make sure that they get pollinated. And they certainly do succeed with that pollination, at least around here, because in the autumn you do see lots and lots of their berries, the lords and ladies, in beautiful little corners of the woods. I'm standing in the woods just listening to hear what birdsong I can hear, and I heard a robin, heard an alarm call of a blackbird a moment ago. But just a few seconds ago I heard a chirp, and it was a woodpecker, a greater spotted woodpecker, that's flown up into the tree just to my left. I can see it running up a branch, pecking, tapping gently. I love woodpeckers. They're beautiful birds. They're also intriguing birds with all sorts of strange things about their physiology. The first thing I like about them is that they've got two toes pointing forward and two toes pointing backwards, which means they can grip onto tree trunks, vertical tree trunks, very easily. And they actually have very stiff tail feathers that they... Oh, what's that? That's a flock of... Oh, a flock of chaffinch just come over. There we go, and off they go again. But the woodpeckers, they've got very stiff tail feathers, and they can rest back on their tail feathers to give them plenty of time to look for all the grubs that they're searching for underneath the bark of trees. They've got a very nice little call, little chirrup, and of course the greater spotted woodpecker is the one that you hear drumming. In fact, you can hear it drumming right at the beginning of the podcast. That's the sound I recorded a while back of actually a pair of greater spotted woodpeckers sort of having a drum battle. One's drumming in one place and then the other's drumming slightly different tempo. Oh, there it goes, flying over me again. Very characteristic dipping, swooping flight. And it's landed up there. Oh, another one's come to join it. So there are actually two. No idea where they're potential mates, whether they're potential rivals, or, dare I say it, just friends. So I think that's a touch anthropomorphic. But again, I love just standing... Oh, and there is 4, 5 long-tailed tits just flown past as well. Yeah. Seems like the bird life is beginning to wake up a bit after, well, so far only a briefly cold but very, very wet winter. The drumming you hear from a greater spotted woodpecker is not really them looking for food. It's actually their territorial call, basically. What they do is they find a tree, often a hollow tree, that really resonates, and they give that a really big whack multiple whacks, and the sound can carry a long, long way. And it's also why the drumming of two different woodpeckers can sound very different, because what they're drumming on, they're using different drums effectively. Now, I've never heard it myself, but I have heard tales of them finding metal posts to drum on, which I imagine would give a fairly spectacular sound, though I'm not entirely convinced it would do much good for their beaks. That woodpecker drum battle is the one I recorded and used at the beginning of my podcast. The woodpeckers aren't yet drumming for territory. It's still a little early in the year, but as always, I'm frequently surprised by what you can hear and when. I've come to a spot now that I know well. It's a south-facing bank, very sheltered, a real little sun trap, and this is where I see bluebells early in the year without fail. They're always here earlier than every other bluebell, probably 2 to 3 weeks. And I did predict that we might start seeing the shoots coming through, and yeah, I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Actually, as I start looking, I think it's a pointless exercise counting them. But these are the bluebells coming up. They're not going to flower for a while, but the plants themselves are putting the leaves above the ground. And in this spot, it's sheltered and warm, and those few degrees can make a big difference. It's a real little microclimate, and I can always see bluebells here early. Now, I do this walk and I know this spot very well, and some people might like adventure and new things all the time. I actually get a sense of adventure from seeing the changes and what happens in the progression in places I know very well. Like, I know these woods, the area around where I live, extremely well now, and I know if I come here, I'll find bluebells. There is a great deal of pleasure to be got from knowing nature or a particular patch of nature extremely well, and this is one of the major things that I enjoy about coming on this walk. I know it really, really well. The music was Nature Watch by Oleski, downloaded from Pixabay. The graphics were done by Lillies, and everything else was done by me, Toby Murcott.